So there's something in plein air painting that I forget about all the time. And it's sort of a small thing or a small tip, but in this painting it actually ended up kind of coming to the rescue. So the whole problem in plein air painting, one of them, is what am I going to paint? You'll get to a location and you might have your conceptions or whatever, but everything changes. So my first thought, the reason I even came to this spot was because a couple days prior I had seen these little turtles, and they come up on this little log and they go down, and I really thought that's what I wanted to paint. And so I bought this monocular, and it was pretty fun to look through, but it was just really hard because all the values got really squashed down, and yeah, I just don't think it would have turned out to be a great painting. And then all of a sudden, I just like turned around and I took a look at what's the largest thing in the scene, and that was the sky. And only kind of during this painting did I really start to realize that for as large of a thing as the sky is, our atmosphere is like most of our view if you're looking up, for as large as it is, it's almost always the background character in a painting. Rarely will it take front stage, and oftentimes it's just a single wash of color. Um, but today, the goal, the idea that became the goal, I should say, was to make the sky the main character. For the most part, when I usually go about approaching a sky, it's often just a single wash of paint. Like that's kind of all the attention I usually give it. Um, Clouds have never been something I'm super confident in, especially when painting with gouache. Um, and I'll even link to a video. It's quite an old video. If you've been around for a little bit on the channel, you might have seen it. But I'll link to that. And I always struggle with clouds because I find it really difficult to both give them substance, but also not give them like texture that makes them feel like they're the same material as the trees or the same material as the boat that's in the scene. So it's a really finicky game. And it turned out to be actually a really fun game of trying to make the clouds substantial, but also not try to make them look heavy and burdensome and, out of place in the scene. So, like the rest of my paintings, the game plan kind of came together on the spot. But it went something like this. So, we're going to build the base with a sort of gradient. That's already a big step because a gradient is something that already takes quite a bit of thought compared to my single washes of paint. The next thing was to kind of feather the gouache. So rather than just laying everything down at the same thickness, try to smooth in some of the white paint so it doesn't make the clouds look heavy and, blocky. The next thing was to kind of cover over the top with more white paint so we can build up the value of the clouds. And it's kind of hard because clouds are something, unlike the rest of the scene where it kind of comes out of place and comes back into place and moves here but goes back to its original spot. Clouds just kind of generally move and then kind of disappear. And that was something I struggled with. So I tried to just get the shape of the clouds in as fast as possible, and then just work from my memory. I think this exercise was really good in reminding me that there truly is always something to paint. I've been to this location far more than once. I've been to this location a couple different times and done paintings here. But I've never done a painting quite like this, and yeah, I just looked at the scene in a completely different way, and it makes me interested to come back here and maybe try to get a different painting out of it as well. So overall, I think this painting came out pretty nice. It ended up taking a little bit longer than I had intended, but I think I achieved my goal in making the sky the main character. And I think the boat really helps for scale as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.